could the Dragon Rulers actually come back? What's going on, you guys? My name is not BladeYGO, and that was probably the worst impersonation you've ever heard. And also, not a computer character either, but shout out to you, Blade. Thank you for letting me be on your channel. My name is Slim, you guys. I'm doing a guest upload here on my boy's channel. And yeah, we're here to talk about, could the Dragon Rulers actually come back? And if they did, what would their actual impact be? You guys don't know, there's an ongoing joke between me and Blade with the word actually, because you guys know in like all his videos, he probably says that word like 7 billion times every video. So in case everyone's ever wondering, you guys see the comments, yeah, that's me. But yeah, so this is an interesting topic because this is something that I feel like most players, if they've been playing this game as long as I have, and I've been playing since the beginning, since 2002, I've gone through all the formats. I played through Dragon Ruler format. It was actually one of my favorite formats, and it was one of the most linear formats, and I know a lot of people don't like that, but when you think about it, there was actually a video, MCole40 actually just uploaded a video talking about, you know, how Dragon Rulers like changed Yu-Gi-Oh forever, and it's true. When Dragon Rulers came out in 2013, they really changed everything. They made it to where the format got to a point of you either had to play Dragon Rulers, Spellbooks, or Evil Swarm. Like literally those were the three main decks that were played at the NAWCQ going in 2013, and it was crazy. The Dragon Rulers were nuts. You guys should know them by now. Blaster, Tidal, Tempest, and Redox. They're all insane, and they all have, you know, their own effects. And, you know, I'm going to talk about them just really briefly, and then we're going to talk about like what decks could benefit from them if they were to come back, and how could they potentially come back. Because in Japan, they actually did release one Dragon Ruler, for those of you that follow OCG. So we're going to start with Blaster, and I'm going to give you guys like very simplified versions for those of you who aren't familiar with them. If you guys don't know, they're all banned. So we had them in 2013. We had them at full sets each, so every deck played 12 Dragon Rulers. It played the babies too. Super Rejuvenation was all this craziness, and then when the Dragon Rulers, when the babies got banned, then you just played the big ones. You just played the big ones, and you know, it was crazy. Then Dragoonity Rulers became a thing, etc., etc. So Blaster is the biggest one, 2800 attack. It's the fire one. Basically, its effect is you can discard it in a fire, and you can pop a card. All the Dragon Rulers have another effect. You can summon them from the graveyard. By banishing, like you can either banish 2 dragons or 2 fire monsters, and basically you guys can see they have like infinite recursion. Like it's nuts depending on like what exact monsters you play in your deck, so it's actually crazy. That's Blaster. Tidal is the second biggest one. It's 2600. It's the Foolish Burial. You discard it and a water, and you're able to Foolish Burial a monster, so really strong with that. Tempest is the wind one. It's I believe it's 2400, and it's you discard it and a wind, and you search a dragon. So I know you guys are already thinking, dang, you search a dragon. Yeah, and we already know how insane guard dragons are right now, so you can just see the synergy right there. And then Redox is the last one. Redox is the one with the big ass that has 3000 defense, and it's the earth one, and I love its effect. It's a monster reborn. You discard it and an earth monster, and you're able to reborn a monster. It's not just a earth monster, it's a monster. So there's the 4 Dragon Rulers, 4 different elements: fire, water, wind, and earth. And what was crazy was during 2013, like just how powerful these monsters were. They really did change the game forever, to where you had to main deck 3 Max C, you had to play cards like a Fegler, you had to play all these cards in order to shut down, you know, what the Dragon Rulers produced. And what the Dragon Rulers produced back then was like double Draco Sack, 3 tokens. It was like one of the best openings, with Super Rejuvenation just to replenish your hand, rejuve into another rejuve, and yeah, it was nuts. It was utterly nuts, and that deck was pretty much uncontested. If you weren't playing against the mirror match, or you weren't playing against, like I said, Evil Swarm or Spellbooks, the decks just, it just was crazy. Like it really, really was. I remember the first time I played, and I just could not believe, like, my opponent could just do all these things with, like, they were playing like decks like I think it was like Gadgets or Machina. I don't remember what the decks were back then, to be honest. It's been so long, but yeah, it didn't even matter. The dragons were so powerful by themselves. Like you didn't even have to go into Draco Sack sometimes. Like going second, you literally could just summon a bunch of Dragon Rulers and just, you know, just destroy your opponent. And then of course, you know, Spellbooks had to play their, you know, they had Spellbook of Judgment, they had Jowg, and Jowgen was like an auto, like almost answer to you know, the Dragon Rulers. They're all special summons, but you had ways to play around it. Blaster's pop was like the main way, so it was pretty crazy. But yeah, flash forward now to 2019. OCG has Tempest at 1. It is the only Dragon Ruler that actually has come off the ban list, and it was it was really big news when it came off the ban list, because people wondered, you know, man, if they've released Tempest, what are the chances they could release the other ones? Now I know a lot of people have argued, you know, the Dragon Rulers could never come back, but we're just saying what would happen if they did, what decks would benefit from them. Okay, we'll start with Blaster. Blaster being fire. What's one of the most prevalent fire decks right now? Salamangreat. Now people are wondering, how could Salamangreat like really just kind of benefit from this? Well, one thing, I actually was talking to someone today at Locals and they said, well, think about it. You could start, before you even do anything, like if you're going second with Salamangreat, you literally could discard Spinny and Blaster, or Spinny and Blaster, and literally pop a card. And then Blaster's in the graveyard. You fill your graveyard with fire monsters because of the Salamangreats, and then it's another free body that you could just summon. It's a 2800 beat stick. Salamangreat have no problem OTKing. This is just like added like beat stick ability. It gets around big problem monsters, which could be like a semi-problem for Salamangreat since they're not the strongest monsters, but you slap a 2800 beater on the field as well, like it's actually crazy. So believe it or not, I feel like Blaster coming back would be like, in a way, not a ginormous like boost to Salamangreat, but it would definitely be quite effective, you know, especially being able to put cards like Jack Jaguar and being able to put Spinny in the graveyard is just nuts with its effect. Like literally pop a card while setting up your graveyard to do your Salamangreat shenanigans, so that's pretty crazy. And another deck that I thought of that could work really well with Blaster is, of course, Infernoid. And Infernoids did play Blaster back in the day when Infernoids were just kind of in their first couple stages. This was before Void Feast, before all that stuff. It was nuts because you had your Infernoids, you know, they loved to banish stuff. You know, Blaster was in there just as added, you know, beat stick ability, and you just discard that and an Infernoid, pop a card, and then just summon the Infernoid by banishing, you know, your cards. Like it was crazy. So the synergy has always been there with Infernoids, and I feel that if Blaster came back, we would definitely see it 100% in Infernoids. There'd be no reason not to play it. It'd just be an additional monster. Volcanics as well. Don't think I forgot Volcanics. I know everyone like always forgets about Volcanics, but no, Volcanics can play it too. They did play it back in the day. So yeah, Blaster being the strongest one, having that pop a card ability is just amazing. And I feel that if it were the Dragon Ruler that was released, it would have the most impact in those decks. So there's that. Going on to Tidal. So Tidal, being the Foolish Barrel, is great, but there was only ever really one deck that really abused it outside of pure Dragon Rulers, and of course, yeah, actually, and for those of you that don't know, when the Dragoonity Ruler deck came out, it played every element except water because it didn't do anything, so it was pretty crazy. But yeah, so Tidal worked the best with Mermails. Mermails were insane. Tidal Mermails, ridiculous. And if, you know, if Tidal was to come back, I think we would see more people playing Mermails. We've already seen people play Mermail Orcus, and while it may not be the best deck, I feel that the minute Tidal comes back, I feel there would be more Mermail players. I'm not saying that it would make Mermails tier 1 again, but it would definitely be a huge boost that they could use. Also, the synergy with Megalo, because I believe it's a 7 as well, working with Tidal is just insane. So it's pretty crazy. I remember back in the day, Tidal Mermails was a thing, and I feel that probably would be a thing again. I don't really know if there's any water decks coming out in the future. You guys can comment below if there is, and that would probably be another deck that could benefit from it. Paleozoic wouldn't work because there's so minimal, you know, water monsters. I think they run like, what is it, 8 frogs, and like not really any other monsters, so unfortunately that would not work. But yeah, unless you're playing like a huge like frog deck or something like that, or just a water-based deck, a Tidal could definitely get a lot of mileage there. On to Tempest. So Tempest is the one, like I said, that's free in the OCG, and you know, it doesn't really see a lot of play, and I mean, it's kind of hard for it to see play because there's not that many wind decks, but there are two that come to mind that I feel that would get a boost from Tempest coming out, and it would be coming back, and it would be Harpies and Dragoonity. So I know these are two decks that don't really see that much play. However, Harpies did see play at the, what was it, at the French Nationals. I think it got top 64 or something like that. It did really well, like I know that, so it was pretty crazy. Harpies are all wind. I mean, it just works, you know, the synergy works. Set up your graveyard search, you know, if they play a dragon or anything like that, or just having the ability to bring out a beater. I think that's one thing about these dragon rulers is they just become free monsters, and that's why the deck was so broken back in 2013. They're free monsters, and they're free big monsters. They're not small, they're big, and so it's pretty crazy. But yeah, Tempest, really solid card. Another thing about this card is that it has the ability to search dragons, and that's where I'm saying Dragoonities could come in. Dragoonities I know has not seen play recently. It's very hard to make that deck work. I know Phoenix Flare X tries so much, and probably the best Dragoonity player that we have, and being able to make that deck work is very hard because you would think summoning ducks, getting phalanx, being able to, you know, make double crystal wing sounds amazing, but do you even get that far these days in Yu-Gi-Oh? It's very hard. Hand traps are a problem, and that's the thing is, unfortunately, I love Dragoonities too. It's been really hard to make the deck work. I know there's someone out there besides Phoenix can make them work, but yeah. Tempest coming back would actually be a huge boost to that deck because you could do more shenanigans with it. Being able to search your dragons by discarding it in a wind is great since the whole archetype is wind, so it's pretty solid. So yeah, there's those two decks that come to mind when I think of element decks that would work, or attribute decks would work best with Tempest. So there's that. And then Tempest being able to search any dragon is insane. you guys know guard dragons, just guard dragon anything is insane. And if anyone found a way to make it work and where you could just search your dragons at will, you already have Brotar for that, but you'd have another way to do something like that with Tempest, I think it'd be pretty insane. And lastly, there's Redox. And Redox is a personal favorite of many, many players. I've talked to endless players over the years. They love Redox. You know why? Because that 3000 ass and the fact that it's a monster reborn for any monster. That's what is so insane. You discard 2 earth monsters, you know, you can discard yourself an earth monster and literally just reborn a guy. Like, that's crazy. When you don't have a lot going on, I remember back in the day in the mirror match, if your hand wasn't that great, you just end on a Redox in defense. What's the opponent going to do? They're not going to be able to get past it. They're going to have to pop it by making a Draco sack if they get that far. So that same, you know, kind of mentality could be applied to using Redox. And then you probably wonder, well, what deck could use Redox? I had to think about it for a while because back in the day, you know, Gadgets tried to do it, you know, anything like Earth-based. And what came to mind was actually Subterrors. I'll be honest, I forgot Subterrors were all Earth. Yeah, Subterrors could literally have a Redox too, and they could use a Reborn effect. That's pretty crazy. Like, you don't really think it would work, but I feel like if it came back to one, I think Subterror players would definitely play it. And if there's any Subterror players out there, you could tell me how you would use it. Any of these decks I mentioned, you could tell me how you would use it, and I think it'd be crazy. But that's definitely one thing that people forget about Redox is in addition to its huge defense, it also is just, you know, a monster reborn, and that's nuts. Just free monsters at the end of the day. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Shout out to you, Blade. Again, thank you for actually letting me to come on here to do this video for you guys. Again, if you guys want to check out my channel is BladeYGO. Just check it out. I'm sure the link's in the description or something like that. I love talking about these cards. I really do. Back in 2013, it was insane. And for those of you that remember, there were some expensive and hard to find rares. They really were. Back in the day, the Dragon Rulers, all the big guys were rare. And believe it or not, they were some of the most expensive and some of the hardest rares to find. Like, I swear, I remember the ratios were like insane. You could open a case and not even pull full sets of all of them, so it's pretty nuts. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about the Dragon Rulers. I know a lot of you are going to say, could these cards actually come back? And the answer is maybe. How would they come back? Maybe one at a time. And would we mimic the OCG? Maybe. We'd probably start with Tempest, and then they would see, does anything happen? Maybe release another one, release another one. If they ever released all of them, though, I think there might be a problem. Dragons are already so powerful now. I think that they actually could not all come back, but maybe release one at a time and just see how it works. I just wanted to give you guys an idea of if they released which one, what would it do, what deck would it impact, and stuff like that. But yeah, overall, those are my thoughts. I'd love to hear yours in the comments below. Be sure to check out my boy Blade. You guys already subscribed if you're watching this video, and hopefully you guys will run over to my channel, and hopefully you'll subscribe too. We got some pretty decent content, I guess, something like that. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you again, Blade, and I'll see you guys next time. Thank you for watching.